I've actually played for the club since 2011, I think is when I joined. So I've been with the club for quite a while. I would play for fall with Seattle and then go to OPSB in the spring. Seattle Rugby Club played in the fall and the spring in the BC division in the Premiership, and OPSB just played in the spring because that's when Super League and the US competition was going on. The women's team was also still the Breakers. In 2011, they were still separate, and then slowly got them to merge, and everybody came together and all decided to come under the same umbrella. And that time we were Seattle OPSB, and then we were Seattle Saracens for a while, and then finally settled on Seattle Rugby Club. A lot of it's about growth. So we've been really in a rebuild phase since COVID of trying to get the club back on track, trying to get more people involved, trying to become, get back into the community and doing more stuff around there. And on top of being, wanting to grow the club and rebuild the culture and do all of that, we'd really like to obviously go win a national championship this year. I think last year we lost in the semifinals against Austin by, in the last second of the game. And I think we had a really good opportunity last year, and it was heartbreaking to get that result. But at the same time, it really got a lot of guys to say, hey, we can do this, and to buy back in and come out for another season if they were planning to move on or retire. So a lot of our older guys stayed on and wanted to be a part of it, which means that we get to keep that experience and grow some of those younger players to push for spots. And I think it's helped with our growth this year. COVID really hit the club pretty hard, and we lost quite a few of our members, quite a few of our sponsors in that period. And then last season, so the 2022-2023 was the first season that we had back where we had a full schedule. So we played in the BC, and we played a Division II, Division I hybrid season within the Pacific Northwest. We were allowed to play in the Premier Division of BC with just one team because it was, first regular scheduled season again. And we really struggled with having enough numbers to play 2 games every weekend. It'd be like maybe we had 16 guys, 17 guys for each team. We've gone from having 22 people at training each training to now having close to 45 each training. So this season, again, we're looking at that rebuilding phase, and we've grown quite a bit. BC told us, we're going back to the norm where you need to have a premier side and a premier reserve. And we also wanted to compete in the US division as well. We wanted to push for a Division I national championship. So we really couldn't, commit to having 3 teams. And so we decided to put all our eggs in one basket and go with our the PNW Rugby Conference. I'm not sure how many guys have actually come in because of the success of last season. Unfortunately, I don't think Division I championships are what they used to be in the country, right? With the coming of MLR and all the different competitions that are going on. A lot of people move into the area because they want to try and get a shot with the Seawolves, or they're moving in for work. But we're trying to push that more of helping Division I become a good standard. So there's a lot of growth there, but also I think a lot of what we do in the community, what we do with veterans, what we do with youth clubs, colleges, right? It helps bring people in to the club. I think we've had quite a few people who say, hey, we've seen you out somewhere and we want to join, or we hear about all the work that you're doing, so it makes people want to be part of it. And I think that's been a big part of how we've grown over the last 2 years. So we've always had a strong ties with the veterans community, mainly I mean, we've had quite a few veterans come through our program and want to be a part of that. So we've had guys from the Navy, Marines, Army, all come through, and we've tried to, make sure that we do things for them and their communities. Kevin Flynn has been a huge part of that as the club president. I think he's coached all Army on a number of occasions. He has, lots of friends within that, and so he does quite a few things where he's able to find events and get guys to do it. We go down and we do what they call the Heroes Workout down there at Fort Lewis McChord. So we'll go down there and do something with them, and we do stuff with wheelchair rugby. So they usually have Mondays and Wednesday practices that guys can go and be a part of and take part and also support them. So we've always tried to do stuff there. Same with Special Olympics. We haven't gotten to do much this year, but I know that we're trying to get back into it and add in where we can. But we've tried to do volunteer services for them, do refereeing, whatever we can to help their success. So those have been great programs for us. We've also started to add in some different foundations. So this year, I think our first one was my son has spina bifida. So my family's big into the Spina Bifida Foundation, the Advocates of Washington here in Seattle. So I got the whole team on board, and we went and did a big walk with them, and it was great to have all these players out there to chat with the families and walk around the park with all the different kids who are affected by that. So we've just been trying to add in as much as we can and kind of reintegrate ourselves within the community as we've gotten back to normal. It's a lot of fun, and I think it creates a lot of team bonding as well when you're doing stuff for others, right? So one, it's awesome to be part of the community. It's awesome to give back and help out those in need. But on the other side of it for the club, it's just great to have all the club members coming together and be able to do something, and I think it builds a lot stronger bonds, a lot more of a better bond. The building phase is coming along. I think we have a lot of guys that are super committed now, who are buying into the club, buying into the culture, coming out to different community events. They're being part of the team, which what I hope means that next season we're able to rejoin BC and be part of the Premier League there, as well as have a team within the US. I think it's kind of been an interesting year in that we are playing Division 2, so we're doing Division 2, Division 1 hybrid. So we have quite a few experienced players who are used to being in a system, who have played at a high level at times. So we're playing in the D2 division. It's a little bit tougher in that some of these teams don't quite have the the resources that we have, or the player pool that we have, or the depth, which means that we try and get as much out of the games as we can. But it can be hard. So at the moment, it's really about building continuity with the team. I think we have some players that are really skilled, who have done a lot in their rugby career. So it's about building those different connections within the team. We have some great athletes, we have some great rugby minds, and it's about making all that come together and make sure that we can play as a cohesive unit. So we actually have a game this coming weekend against the Pacific Pride, which is kind of the Canadian development program. So they usually are made up of U23 players, maybe a few more experienced players, but it's built around bringing in as the best upcoming players in Canada. So it's a good opportunity for us to go up there and play them and kind of test and see where we're at. Test our skill level, where we are at, where we're in the season, what we need to improve upon, and that'll be kind of our measuring stick going forward. So we're going to go up there, see how we're doing. We're playing with an expanded roster, so I think we get to take 27, 28 guys, and that way, lots of players get to get that experience and kind of see where they measure. This club just does so much. Right. On one hand, it's pretty cool that there's not a lot of programs that have both the men and women's team together, right? So they're part of one club, which is awesome. I know that there's, quite a few clubs out there that have connections with each other but aren't under the same umbrella. And I think it's great that we can have that, and we can learn from each other and build our club. We also have such a massive alumni base. So you have all these connections within, the Seattle area, but all over the world, really. I mean, you can go just about anywhere. I mean, you can ask Flinny and go say, hey, I'm traveling to such and such. Who should I meet up with? Where can I stay? And he'd be able to give you a list of 10 names, right? Which is pretty cool. So I think that's an awesome part of our club. And yeah, I mean, we just create a lot of opportunities. The way that we take care of each other, I think it's really a powerful thing. And I'm sure there are other clubs around the world that have that kind of experience, but I think it makes Seattle pretty special. And that's how you come here, you instantly have a family, you can find jobs, you can find places to live. You can go anywhere in the world and find other people who have played for Seattle at some points. You have the connections to the women's clubs, to your community, right? It's just a very cool way that everything is interconnected, and we're basically, one giant family.